No, we're not. I'm not even prepping. I'm talking. So a bunch of your rules for success. One of them is finish the fight. What does that mean?
I mean, you have to finish what you start. You have to have completion. You have to have proof of concept. You know, you have to showcase that if you have an idea, you can make it into something tangible. And you have to be consistent about that. And also, why wouldn't you want to finish the fight? Because when you finish it, you won.
Well, a couple of things. First of all, when you think about the word entrepreneur, what do you think an entrepreneur, the 3 character traits an entrepreneur needs to have to be successful?
Number 1, he has to be fearless. He has to be confident, or her. And they have to be well prepared.
I know why you're saying that. That's funny. No, I do not feel guilty because I did so much research before you.
That's the research. Some people have different versions of research. My version, I think, is different.
Did you know, before you knew I was coming here to do this podcast, did you have any idea what this podcast was?
I just know it was a podcast, and that you were a friend of Tommy's and you're an entrepreneur.
Okay, well that's good. That's good enough, I guess. You're totally throwing me off. Are you doing this on purpose?
How am I throwing you off?
I don't know, because I don't know, you just are. So, can we just start with the one thing that I feel is like the pink elephant in the room for me is...
The pink elephant?
Yeah, for me, which is I really want to desperately ask you about this whole Jay-Z thing. About the Rock, yeah, desperately. The Rockefeller thing. And let me tell you why, okay?
You don't have to tell me why.
No.
Just ask the question.
My first question is I feel like there's a lot of confusion. And I think when I told a lot of people that I'm coming to interview you, everyone was like, yeah, he's the guy that was, who was a partner at Rockefeller with Jay-Z and it ended badly. And I kind of feel like the media has made you kind of the bad guy and him the good guy. And I'm curious really why that is. And is it because I feel like you're very honest and like blunt and sometimes that can work against people?
Well, let me just say this. The media usually does not, as it stands, move our culture. They don't like us looking very smart. So if a guy like me who's an independent thinker that is about showing my culture the power, the jewel, making it where another culture will not be able to exploit my culture anymore. If that's what I represent, and someone else represents something completely different, maybe what they want the system to maintain and what they want to represent as success, which is still controlling our culture. What do you think the media would empower? And I'm not mad at that. I think media is a great way to control. I never get mad at the oppressor. I get mad at myself and my culture for letting someone that weak oppress us. So what I do is I build my own media. That's why I made my own channel. So the truth, because you can't trust media, do you?
Well, I think...
Do you trust media? So yes or no?
I think right now, no, not a lot.
So with that said, and like you said, the people that they're usually saying is the good guy is usually the bad guy, and the guy that they're usually saying is the bad guy is usually the good guy. When Yahshua, and they call him Jesus, got persecuted, to some people that persecuted him, he must have been a really bad guy to do that, right? That's why they did it to him. So whoever did that, they looked at him as a bad guy because he represented everything they didn't. So they had to make an example out of him. See, I'm not that guy that you're going to be hanging on the cross. I'm that guy that's going to actually fight and put Charlo on the cross. You know what I mean? Whoever's oppressing me, and then also be there to enjoy the fruits of my culture being free, but doing it in a way that's strategic and smart. So I don't ever expect help from the oppressor.
So what even happened in the first place? Because I mean, like I was saying earlier,
The NFT?
Not the NFT, no, maybe not that part yet.
That stuff's too old.
No.
You gotta Google that.
But listen, no, I don't talk, I'm talking about like at the core.
Let me just explain something to you. I'm a real man. Real men don't enjoy talking about other men unless they're in the room. So I don't like talking about that dude at all unless he's there to at least have a conversation. And also it's old. That was 15 years ago. The case with the NFT, that's recent. I don't mind talking about that, but the old stuff, you could Google it.
Yeah, but
I'll
when
make
you,
a movie one day. So.
no, but my point is when you Google it, it's
I just told
convoluted.
you why.
It's super convoluted.
I'm not the guy that's trying to control the narrative in that way. I'm controlling the narrative by my actions. I'm the guy that's teaching my culture how to be independent, not dependent. So of course they're not going to make this guy look good in that system that's used to keep us in a pattern where we fight each other all the time and not the people that are holding us back. So of course I'm not going to be received in that light from the people I'm getting at. Do you understand what I'm saying? So anyone that says things that are wrong or bad about me, then you know they're benefiting from the destruction of our culture. Don't trust them. If you call a good guy a bad guy, then you have to look at the person who's saying it. You have to look at who has the benefit from it and what. Just look at my actions. I'm a bad guy because I make everybody around me rich. You know how many people I put on? Now I'll tell you about somebody else. I put Jay on, Kanye, Lee Daniels, Kevin Hart, Rachel Roy, Cameron. The list goes on. You know what I mean? It doesn't stop. You know what I mean? Like from the Black Keys, you know, in all different fields, from fashion to movies to music, you know, to art. You know, I don't do nothing for really money. That's the difference. Money doesn't control me. Quality of living controls me. Having fun and making sure the people I love are having fun. You know, I don't like being told what to do. I don't like working harder for another person's family than my own. It just doesn't make any logical sense. Now, we're programmed to think we're supposed to put our kids in school, have them sit behind a desk while the sun's out for 8 hours a day to prepare you to get debt, to work it off, to sit for 8 hours to work off the debt from school, and for you to sit in the office for 8 hours a day, not relax until you're at least 65. That's not a program I'm subscribing to. I'm subscribing to being on vacation 5 days a week and working 2 days a week. You know what I'm saying? I like to work hard. So, you know, they tell you you're supposed to go on vacation 2 times a year. They can tell you when to go on vacation, right? Nah, I'm on vacation and I work 2 or 3 times a year. I'm on vacation in between. I've made my life, and the reason why I can do that is because I understand what residual income is. I know what I'm working for, and I know I don't want to physically be doing the same thing I'm doing now 10 years from now or 20. You have to show evolution, and I don't want to be running around with a bunch of younger people all the time. I'm 50.
Did you always have that type of drive and ambition as a kid, and it kind of just kept on it kind of evolved and grew? Like someone listening to this who wants to...
I'm from Harlem. I was getting money when I was young, you know, at a young age based on survival, but I saw it wasn't sustainable. But I used all those things, you know, the recourse of what I was doing when I was young was death, jail, and you had to play by a very specific code, and honor was one of them. So I just... where I'm from, you just don't get played. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I'm just always looking for somebody to hustle me because everyone's always hustling. Everyone's always overcompensating for lack of whatever they should be doing.
That's very true sometimes.
All the time.
So then if that's the case, let's start from, like, because you went to boarding school, and I heard that you actually, like, got yourself into boarding school, right? Like, you didn't have any money. Was it a full scholarship, and what were you going on?
Don't assume I didn't have any money. But what was happening was I was in the street.
Right.
My mother had died, and my friends were starting to become killers. And a lot of them are just coming home from what they were doing when I went to boarding school right now. And I was the one that actually was able to help them through that bid, and knowing what they had to go through because of the game that we was in, appreciating every day of my life because I didn't get caught up in that. So my homeboys was wild, and it was only a matter of time for me. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like it was becoming a normal thing on my block. And I also have a TV show that kind of talks about it called OG Stories, which will be on Fox Soul as well this Saturday, and also on my streaming service. And I was just like, my mom had died, and she did a lot to educate me and make sure that, you know, I was just a well-versed man, and I wasn't gonna flush everything out of respect for my moms. Because for me, when someone you love dies, you don't care if you die because you like, I'll be there with them. I'm like, fuck it if I die. So at that point, I was buck wild. I didn't care. So, but the respect kicked in. And I was like, my moms wouldn't want that. So I used to box at the boys club, and they offered me a scholarship for boarding school. And I went for a summer, and I was too homesick. I was a homesick kid. But when my mom died, I was like, you know what, maybe I'll cash in on that scholarship, and I went to South Kent for a year. So I put myself in boarding school.
And then what happened?
And then I came home for the summer and paid in full. That movie, I bet you didn't see it. But that movie, you'll see it. But that movie, that experience, I was there for that. You know, we were just getting too much money for me to go back to school. You know what I mean? And I was hanging out, because in boarding school it's forms. So it's like, you know, 6th form, 5th form. And I was in a 6th form dorm, or 5th form dorm. So I was in an older dorm, and all my friends was graduating. And they still my friends to this day.
If you want another amazing video with the one and only Dame Dash, check it out right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.